Hi, gratitude seekers, and welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. Today, I want you to meet Jason Stein. Jason combines over 20 years of experience in medicine, coaching, and teaching in the creation of mindfulness in the workplace. Some of his favorite projects to date have been bringing an interactive, integrative medicine program to a hospital setting and sharing mindfulness tools with businesses of all sizes. But I will let Jason tell you more about himself and his work.
Georgian, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here and to just explore the conversation of gratitude. My work most recently, I teach at one of the top acupuncture colleges in the United States. And I teach all the business curriculum because most healers don't understand business. I also have a small consulting firm where I work globally with small business owners that are really trying to figure out, can they balance profit, relationships, and impact? And I think they can.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think this is really, really important. Like I've been focused some of my earlier years, not that I'm very old, but yeah, on just one thing. I said, okay, I'm going to work as hard as I can, and that's the only thing that matters. And after I solve this, I will work on other things and I will give attention to other things. But that didn't work. Not at all. I had different businesses and I worked a lot, but I forgot to keep the relationship going with my friends. My health wasn't great also because it wasn't important at that moment. And I think, this balancing these is really, really important. Without that, business, even if you have business success, it's not that fulfilling actually.
Yes, people say that balance is a myth, and I don't believe it is. I studied and I have a advanced degree in Chinese medicine, and Chinese medicine has been around for over 3,000 years, studying yin and yang. And really, we can start to bring that balance into the workplace because it's where we spend most of our time.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really important what we are doing and how we are doing what we are doing actually. And this is where gratitude also comes in and is really important to feel grateful in your workplace, in what you do, the work you do with your clients, the fact that you have clients to work with, and that's really important. And the work that you do, it's awesome. I've heard when we were talking before actually hitting the record button that you have something like chocolate sessions, and
yes.
You have people from all around the world sending you chocolate.
It's true. In the world of coaching and consulting, most people have a free business discovery session. And I found that business is really meant to be turned upside down, and it's meant to be fun. Like if we can't bring our joy to work, it means we're pumping out 8 hours or sometimes 10 hours, then going home to our family and friends to really have our life. And I want to flip that model where 24 hours a day, I'm in a space of finding out where my passions are and how I can play with them. And so I decided to exchange 30 minutes of my strategy time with business owners for their favorite chocolate bar. And I have a drawer in my refrigerator that's full of chocolates around the world.
Wonderful. And it's really interesting to get to know the culture. I think it's a part of the culture, the different kinds of chocolate they have. And Yeah, it's a really yummy way of of doing things.
I had no idea how many chocolate companies there were internationally. And I'm learning, I'm yet to receive the same chocolate twice.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really cool. Really cool. Yeah. And it's great that you walk the talk and you have fun while doing this, and that's really great. But getting back to our topic today, which is gratitude, do you have a quote that you love about gratitude?
I do. In the Bay Area, there is a restaurant called the Gratitude Cafe, and they have bumper stickers there, and it says, "What are you grateful for?" And so it's just a sticker. What are you grateful for? And so that's my favorite quote is, what are you grateful for? Because it allows me to have different answers at different times and to remember how important gratitude is. And so in my other office, I have it right next to my workstation so I can see it on a regular basis.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think questions are really powerful, and I didn't think of a gratitude quote as being a question, but it's actually really good because uh, they make us think. They make us see the world in a certain place, in a certain way, by focusing our attention in a certain way. Also, yeah, that's really really good.
Mm.
And it's awesome that you're also using it at the office. And this is a good tip for our audience also to put the sticker, this kind of a sticker, and get reminded of the things that they can feel grateful for.
So important, whether it's a picture or a quote. We're at computers so often now that to have those reminders to unplug and to remember what's most important uh, is really valuable.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. But I think they are most valuable when it's not that easy to be grateful, like when it's harder to be grateful. What else do you do when it's hard to be grateful, Jason?
The first thing I do is I remember that gratitude isn't something that you can just snap your fingers and create. That if you're having a rough time at work or with your family or with money, that it's not like, well, I'll just be grateful now and snap your fingers and you're more grateful. It's something to me that I have to remind myself to be patient with, that I open up and I receive from something larger than myself. That as opposed to being the creator, that I'm just a part of this universe and that I can open up and I can slow down and I can drink in gratitude. So patience. I think the most important thing for me is to remember the patience to slow down.
Mhm. That's really a good one. In the world that we are living in, with everything is high speed, the internet, the trains, everything has to go faster. We have to go faster from one place to another. And yeah, I think this complements it really really well.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's a good tip for us. And did you have like a very low point in your life when you feel like gratitude has helped you to get out of the pit?
Uh, yes, I laugh because I'm a bit nervous of just sharing. The low point was so low. And I was in a previous marriage and finances went upside down. And I went through what I call the trifecta of struggle. And so I went through a divorce. And here in the United States, I had to walk through bankruptcy. And I had to give my house, my home that my kids and I lived in, back to the bank. And I wondered if I was going to end up on the street. And it was through gratitude for what I had, rather than thinking about what I didn't have, that really allowed me to start the building blocks again to build. And within a year, I was living on 3 acres of land in one of the most beautiful areas of Oregon, and I was making more money than I'd ever made before.
Wow.
And I attribute that to being able to cultivate gratitude.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I also felt the same kind of um, feeling in the situation that was like very like yours somehow. I left the business that I worked on building, um, and after a few days or weeks in which I wasn't clear on where to go next, um, I chose to feel grateful for the things that I already had. And the interesting thing is that in like again a few weeks or something like that, I got to have more money than I had in all of my life
Mm,
till then,
yeah.
and that was amazing. It was like, whoa, I can earn that much. It blew me away, and I could only do it by focusing on the things that I was already grateful about and receiving. Yeah.
Yeah, in some ways, I think it's easier to cultivate gratitude at low points, because when things are good, sometimes we get lazy and we forget. We
Yeah.
forget how good it actually is. And so, for the listeners, if you are at a low point, remember, by cultivating what you have, maybe a roof over your head or enough food, that's enough to, to focus on being present. And if you're being present, you don't have to worry about what's next.
Exactly. And yeah, this gratitude also helps with not thinking about the things that you don't have yet, or the things that you want. You get to be present and enjoy the things that you already have and the level at which you are right now. Because for me, for instance, it was like I always wanted to be bigger, to get to the next level, to uh, I don't know, like where where I wasn't enough somehow. And
Mm,
gratitude has helped me to see that it's perfect the way it is, and I have so many reasons to be grateful, even if I'm not yet, I don't know, 30 years old or something like that. I'm just giving an example. It was
mm-hmm.
it was like I wanted to be 18. I wanted to be bigger than I was at that point. Yeah, but uh, that's very beautiful to be able to see the blessings that you have in the point of life where you are right now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
by the way, what would you say to your younger self if you could go back in time?
When I was younger, the school system in the United States is such that there's kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, and so on. And in second grade, I was held back a year because I wasn't meeting the benchmarks. And when I was held back, I was teased a lot. And it wasn't until later in life that I realized what a gift it was to not try to push myself forward, because life would have gotten harder and harder. And so at the time, I would go back and say, everything really does happen for a reason, even if we can't see it in the moment. And that the biggest challenges you face coming towards the end of your life will be the ones that you remember most as the pinnacle moments and turning points. And so I would tell myself, don't sweat it. It's all okay.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I asked you, because I was thinking about the same kind of thing that, yeah, when we are in a certain situation, we tend to look so much to where we would like life to be, that we forget to be there, to be present, and to enjoy the situation we are in, even if it's not perfect, or even if it's a challenging time.
Mm.
The fact that we can be present and we can be grateful for the little things that are all right, even if the bigger picture might be awful, that brings us in a state in which we can actually have enough power to change that.
Mm.
This is what I believe. And yeah, do you have like something that you do to help you be grateful consistently, like a practice or an activity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every night we sit down as a family. I have 3 kids, and my wife and 3 kids and I name one thing we're grateful for at the dinner table before we eat. And it allows us to remember how lucky we are and how much we have as a family. And it cultivates that muscle of gratitude, so that when things do get hard again, because they will, everybody has ups and downs, that there's a place of remembrance to go, like, oh yeah, and you can't be grateful every night and forget gratitude altogether.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why I like to ask this question, um, because I think that like you said, gratitude is a muscle, and um, we when we are happy, when we are grateful, when things are flowing and everything is easy, it, like I said, it's easy to be grateful and to be happy. And yeah, but when things get harder, the fact that you have that muscle, it's easier to lift things up to a more positive point, and to actually see the challenges in another way, and to see them smaller than you would see them if you would like not have this habit of being grateful.
Yeah.
And I know that you are a grateful person, and uh, you are really great at relationships. And I wanted to ask you if you have some people that you want to mention that you're very grateful for.
Hmm. Yeah, my dad died this past year,
No.
and my dad was the essence of gratitude. He was raised in a very poor family, and made a career in real estate and did extremely well. But things would happen in my life where I could remember a time struggling with money, and someone let a candle burn in the bathroom, and it lit the wall on fire, and it damaged the wall. And gratefully, no one was hurt, but it was going to cost a lot of money to repair. And it was a time in life when I didn't have a lot of money. And so I called my dad, and he said, I promise you, son, a year from now, you won't even remember how intense this is. It'll just be another memory of going through life. And sure enough, a year later, everything was fine. And I think that the people in my life, I can name a few. One is my dad, always had a sense to remind me to be grateful for what you do have now. My mastermind buddy is Paul Zelizer over at Wisdompreneurs. For the listeners, it's a Facebook forum of wisdom-based business owners. And he is constantly reminding me that you can bring gratitude to wherever you are. And so I appreciate that relationship. And the last is my family. I have 3 children, and the youngest is 4 weeks old. And just seeing him breathe and cry and sleep and do all the things that babies do cracks my heart wide open. I can't experience more joy because it's just bubbling over. It's just like, wow, life is really amazing. And for the listeners out there, if you're in a place right now where it's hard, like money's hard or life is hard or your relationships are hard, know that it's an inside job. That if you really start to practice gratitude every day, life will change. I don't remember who said it, but someone said a quote, if you change the way you see the world around you changes. And I truly believe that.
Yeah, I've experienced this the other way around somehow, in a way that there were situations that exteriorly they should have made me happy. But I chose to see them in a way in which I wasn't happy, actually. And for me, that was like, oh my God, so that should have made me happy. What's wrong with me? What's not okay? And I understood that it was the way I saw the things that is the most important. And this is usually the situation. Like, we all have challenges in life, and how we choose to see them makes all the difference. All the difference. Some choose to give them all their energy to the situation and feel like a victim or something like that, or you can choose to see the blessing and to be grateful for the situation and for what it brings, the good things that it brings. And also I wanted to talk to you about how can we use gratitude in business. Do you think that gratitude in business for small business owners or something like this, is that useful?
Yes, there's two things. One is I'm a little distracted because I can hear an outside noise outside my building. And this is a perfect moment. It's like we're talking in two different countries, and I've done everything in my immediate environment to make sure it's quiet. But two doors down, I can hear like some sort of engine, and I'm like, is it going to pick up? Is it blowing the podcast? Ah! And then I breathe. Like, you listeners, you're getting exactly what you need today. And so in business, it is so easy to, one, not celebrate. And that's where gratitude comes in. Grateful for what we have and celebrating what we have. And we can get in a constant state of what's next? What's next? What's
Exactly.
next?
Exactly.
How do I get one more client? How do I get one more client? How do I work one more hour? How do I squeeze in a little bit more? And ultimately, life is short. Very, very, very short. And my previous career, I was an acupuncturist, and I worked in a hospital. So I was the go-to acupuncturist inside the hospital to treat everybody that wasn't getting better from Western medicine. And what I saw is that all those people were getting sick from the place they spent most of their time, which was work. And I believe your work is either a place to bring your passions, to be a contribution, and to ultimately find your area of service, or a place that's going to kill you. And really, the choice is ours. And so gratitude in work is essential, or you're constantly going to be futurescaping, well, what's next? What's next? What's next?
Exactly. This is what I feel also, and it's one of the reasons that I'm doing what I'm doing, because I enjoy every single interview. I enjoy everything that I'm doing. The fact that my work is listening to the interview again, to put the show notes together, and to put the resources and everything. I think it's wonderful, and I love doing this. I love doing the other work that I'm doing also, but it's really wonderful to choose something that you enjoy. And the other days I've had like 4 interviews, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be so tired. I mean, I have two interviews, one after the other. I had to prepare all kinds of things for them. And after the interviews, I was so fresh, and I was thinking, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm actually energized. I actually have more energy, and I thought that I would be wasted. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm inspired. I'm inspired by you because you
Thank you.
have a very clear mission, and that is to touch 100,000 lives with gratitude. And I believe I'm a Western and Eastern guy. And so I love science and I love heart-based. And that intersection is if you get 100,000 people thinking about gratitude more often, it's undeniable that you will change the frequency of those people in their communities. And if you think about the lives that you'll end up touching, you're going to touch those 100,000 lives and all the lives that those people are in interaction with. And so that I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I'm really looking forward to this happening. And I'm sure that this interview will stay online for a long while, and many people will hear it, and maybe at one point it will be already we would have reached already 100,000 people.
Yes.
And yeah, like you said, I am really feeling that it's going to have a beautiful impact. And it's interesting that there aren't very many people that want to like have themselves be an example and to do this kind of work, because we are inundated by people that have, from my point of view, lower values, and we tend to, as human beings, the way we are wired, we tend to replicate what we see and to be like those people. And that's why I think it's important for people to have these kind of videos and audios to see and to learn from people like them. This is actually the thing, and the most important thing and the most valuable thing is your story, the fact that you are like any of our listeners, and you have had challenges and you chose to be grateful, and you're an example that people can follow. This is what I find amazing, and this is a new way of getting new role models for life, actually, because we definitely need role models.
We do need role models. You know, I think that it's just easier sometimes to put on Netflix or watch a series of most of the shows that I see coming out. There's a lot of kind of teasing, or there's a lot of violence. And I think it's important to listen to podcasts like this one and to watch TED Talks and to start getting mind food to counterbalance it. You know, if we take the Star Wars analogy, it's like there are forces of good and forces of evil, and you have to start to move towards the forces of good to feed yourself there, so that the forces of evil don't overtake you. Because I think that you could end up watching 24 episodes of a series in a row on Netflix and really feel crummy afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. I've been there actually. there were times when I in the summer break, and that I only did this for a couple of days or something. I only watched movies, and I wasn't more fulfilled by doing that. And it was just a way of making time pass away. But I didn't like it really helped me to be better, to be happier, which was actually the way, this is what I would have expected, actually.
I like that phrase, making time pass away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an important one to remember. Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. So another way of making time pass away, but in a more constructive way, are books. And I know that you are working on an ebook
Yes.
right now. Can you tell me and our audience more about it?
Yeah, it's not out yet, but the book is actually my journey on creating the chocolate strategy sessions. So I can use the metaphor of chocolate in the sales funnel. Because when we say sales or sales funnel, most people in business just like, I hate sales. I don't want to do sales. And it's interesting because the number one need in the world for human beings is to be a contribution to another person. And sales is really taking a stand to say, I have something that may be helpful in the area that you're struggling. So how can we create that? And so the ebook, the working title, which may change, is called The Ultimate Chocolate Strategy Session, Understanding Your Sales Funnel, One Truffle at a Time.
That's so cool. Yeah, it's a yummy ebook.
Yeah, it should be out by January 2017.
All right, perfect. So could you go a bit more into it? Like it's going to be on how sales funnels are created.
Yeah, so something that happens for heart-based business owners or people that want to do business differently is they struggle with visibility. Part of that is because the owners themselves sometimes are introverted. They definitely have seen sales be manipulative, and they've seen them be greedy and ultimately intrusive. And so it really is going to be a book about what does sales really mean and how can we do it in a way that brings joy and play. And so I have a few clients that are beta testing this, and one was testing it with her, like doing a free session for someone's favorite song. So it wasn't entirely free, but people were sending in a song. And other clients have stole chocolate strategy sessions. And if you're listening and you want to steal it, I'd love an attribution. But, you know, I also believe we got to get out of this competitive model. If you look at Google, how many of us use Gmail for free? How many of us use all the apps on our phones that are free? And so we can start seeing that a free model may be a good way to start to build a relationship, because ultimately, if we drill it all the way down to the bottom, this book is about building healthy relationships. And when you can do that, your business will thrive.
Awesome. I think building a business that you love on healthy principles and on healthy relationships is one of the most important things that we can do in our lives. And yeah, that's why I think your work is awesome, and the fact you're helping these kind of people is just great. And where can people find you, Jason? Where can people see your work?
Yeah, so jasonstein.com. It's JASONSTEIN.com. I have a Monday morning minute. So I have Monday mindfulness. It's a 2-minute video clip around how to build profits, relationship, and impact in your business. And you can see that on the homepage. You can read about me. And if you're really interested, if you're listening to this podcast and you're interested, there's a back-end link that I will share that you could write down for people to have a chocolate strategy session.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was great meeting you and having you here, Jason. I love your story, and I think our audience loves it too. And
Mm.
I'm really grateful that you accepted the invitation and that we had this talk.
Well, I've just enjoyed it. I've been smiling so much my cheeks hurt a little bit because it's just such a good, it feels good to talk about good things. And
Yeah,
so I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that you are spreading the word on gratitude. And thank you for having me.
sure. Thank you.